My granddaughter? I almost hung up. The number wasn't saved in my phone. I usually don't answer unknown calls anymore. Too many scammers these days. But something made me tap that green button. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was fate. Mr. Patterson, this is Dr. Elizabeth Chen from Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. I'm calling about your granddaughter, Maya Sullivan. My heart stopped. I hadn't heard that name spoken aloud in 4 years. 4 long years since my son David cut me out of their lives completely. What about Maya? Is she all right? There was a pause. The kind of pause that makes your blood run cold. Mr. Patterson, Maya has been diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. She's 12 years old now, and we need to find a bone marrow donor as quickly as possible. Your son provided your contact information. Would you be willing to come in for HLA typing? I gripped the edge of my kitchen counter. The coffee mug in my other hand started shaking. Maya. My little Maya, who used to call me Pop Pop. Who would beg me to read her one more story before bed. Who made me construction paper cards every birthday. I'll be there tomorrow morning, I said. First flight out. After I hung up, I just stood there in my empty house in Phoenix, staring at the family photo on my refrigerator. It was 6 years old now. Maya was only 6 in that picture, grinning with 2 missing front teeth, sitting on my lap at her birthday party. David and his wife Rachel stood behind us, smiling. We looked happy. We were happy. Before everything fell apart. It started small, the way these things always do. Rachel didn't like how I disciplined Maya when she stayed with me. I was too strict, she said. Too old-fashioned. I made Maya finish her vegetables before dessert. I made her say please and thank you. I didn't let her have unlimited screen time. Dad, you're not her parent, David told me one Sunday evening when he picked Maya up. Rachel and I make the rules, not you. I'm just trying to help raise her right, I said. The way I raised you? Yeah, and look how that turned out, he muttered. That stung. I'd raised David alone after his mother died when he was 8. I worked 2 jobs to put him through college. I thought I'd done okay. He became a successful software engineer, married a good woman, had a beautiful daughter. But apparently, I'd failed somehow. According to Rachel, I was controlling, overbearing, living in the past. The visits became less frequent. Then they stopped altogether. David's calls became shorter, more perfunctory. Then those stopped too. I tried reaching out. I sent Maya birthday cards, Christmas presents. They were never acknowledged. One day, I drove the 6 hours to Los Angeles unannounced. I just wanted to see my granddaughter. Rachel answered the door with her arms crossed. You can't just show up here, Bill. I'm her grandfather. I have a right. You have no rights, she cut me off. We've made it clear we need space. If you keep harassing us, we'll get a restraining order. Harassing. That word hit me like a punch to the gut. David appeared behind her. My son. My boy. He wouldn't even look me in the eye. Dad, just go, please. I went. What else could I do? That was 4 years ago. I'd respected their wishes, even though it killed me. Every birthday, every Christmas, I'd sit alone and wonder what Maya looked like now, if she even remembered me, if she asked about Pop Pop, and now this. Leukemia. I booked the earliest flight I could find. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat in my recliner, looking at old photos on my phone. Maya as a baby. Maya taking her first steps. Maya and me building a snowman the one winter it actually snowed in Phoenix. The flight the next morning felt endless. When I finally landed at LAX, I took an Uber straight to the hospital. My hands were sweating as I walked through those automatic doors. Dr. Chen met me in the oncology wing. She was younger than I expected, maybe in her late 30s, with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Mr. Patterson, thank you for coming so quickly. She shook my hand. Let me explain the situation. Maya's leukemia is aggressive. Chemotherapy hasn't responded as well as we'd hoped. Her best chance is a bone marrow transplant from a matched donor. And you want to test me? We've already tested her parents. David is only a half match, which isn't ideal. Rachel isn't a match at all, which is expected since there's no biological relation. We're checking the registry, but finding a perfect match can take months. We don't have months. She led me to a small examination room. The hospital smell brought back memories. My wife Catherine dying of cancer in a place just like this. The fluorescent lights, the beeping machines, the desperate hope mixed with inevitable despair. The test is simple, Dr. Chen explained. Just a blood draw. We'll analyze your HLA markers, human leukocyte antigens. We're looking for a 6 out of 6 match. Parents typically have at least a 3 out of 6 match with their children. Grandparents, it varies, but we're hopeful. When will I know? 72 hours for preliminary results. We'll rush it. A nurse came in and drew 4 vials of blood. That was it. 4 vials that might save my granddaughter's life. Can I see her? I asked Dr. Chen afterward. Her expression shifted. Let me check with her parents first. She left me sitting in that sterile room for 20 minutes. When she came back, her face told me everything. I'm sorry, Mr. Patterson. They've declined. They said it would be too confusing for Maya right now. Too confusing. Like I was some stranger. Not the man who taught her to ride a bike. Not the man who made her pancakes shaped like Mickey Mouse every Sunday morning. I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. I left the hospital and checked into a cheap motel near the airport. I didn't go back to Phoenix. I couldn't. Not until I knew. Those 72 hours were the longest of my life. I barely ate. I watched the clock. I paced that tiny motel room until I'd probably worn a path in the carpet. On the 3rd day, my phone rang. Dr. Chen. Mr. Patterson, we have your results. Can you come to the hospital? Just tell me. Am I a match? Another pause. That same terrible pause. I need you to come in. There's something we need to discuss in person. My stomach dropped. I knew that tone. Something was wrong. I was back at Cedars-Sinai within the hour. Dr. Chen met me, but this time she wasn't alone. There was an older doctor with her, distinguished-looking with silver hair. And David was there. My son. I hadn't seen him in 4 years. He'd aged. There was gray at his temples now. Lines around his eyes. The weight of having a sick child had carved itself into his face. Dad, he said. It was the first word he'd spoken to me in years. David. We stood there awkwardly until Dr. Chen gestured to a conference room. We all sat down around a table. The older doctor introduced himself as Doctor. Marcus Webb, head of oncology. Dr. Chen placed a folder on the table between us, but didn't open it. Mr. Patterson, we ran your HLA typing twice. Then we ran it a 3rd time to be absolutely certain. And? She exchanged a glance with Dr. Webb. He nodded. You're not a match for Maya. The words landed but didn't quite register. What do you mean? I'm her grandfather. That's just it, Dr. Chen interrupted gently. Based on these results, you're not her biological grandfather. The room tilted. That's impossible. David is my son. Maya is his daughter. The math doesn't work, Dr. Webb said. He opened the folder and turned it toward me. It was full of numbers and charts I didn't understand. We ran a full genetic panel, not just HLA markers. Mr. Patterson, according to these results, you and Maya share no genetic markers. None. You're not related to her at all. I looked at David. He'd gone pale, staring at the table. What are you saying? I asked. Dr. Chen's voice was careful, measured. We're saying that either David is not Maya's biological father, or David is not your biological son. The room went silent. The kind of silent where you can hear the ventilation system, the distant beep of monitors, your own heartbeat pounding in your ears. That's insane, I said. I was there when David was born. I raised him. He looks like me. Everyone always said he looked just like me. Resemblance can be coincidental, Dr. Webb said. Genetics don't lie. I turned to David. Say something. He finally looked up. His eyes were red. We tested Maya before. When she was born, Rachel was paranoid about genetic conditions, so we did a full genetic screening. I'm her father. The test confirmed it. Then that means... I couldn't finish the sentence. Then that means you're not my father, David whispered. The world stopped. 63 years. I'd been Bill Patterson for 63 years. David's father for 38 of those years. And now these doctors were telling me it was all a lie? There has to be a mistake, I said, but my voice sounded hollow even to my own ears. Catherine would never. She wouldn't. But even as I said it, memories started surfacing. Catherine's guilt when she was dying, how she kept saying she was sorry, how she had something to tell me but never quite managed to get the words out before the morphine took her under for the last time. I thought she was just apologizing for leaving me, for dying. Dr. Chen slid a box of tissues across the table. I didn't realize I was crying until then. I want to know, I said. I want to know everything. Test me. Test David. Test whatever you need to test. Mr. Patterson, Dr. Webb started. Test me, I said louder. I need to know the truth. They tested us. Another blood draw, another waiting period, though this one was only 24 hours. David and I sat in that same conference room the next day when the results came back. Dr. Chen laid it out plainly. Based on DNA analysis, David is not your biological son. The probability of paternity is 0%. David had his head in his hands. I just sat there, numb. Can you tell who? David's voice cracked. Can you tell who my father is? Not without comparing your DNA to potential matches, Dr. Webb said. Do you have any suspicions? Anyone your mother was close to? I thought back. 38 years ago. 1988. Catherine and I had been married for 3 years. We were trying to have a baby. It wasn't happening. I was working long hours as an electrician. Catherine worked as a receptionist at a law firm downtown. The law firm. There was someone, I said slowly. Catherine's boss. Thomas Brennan. They worked late together a lot. I never thought. I trusted her. I trusted them both. David stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. He walked out. I wanted to follow him, but what would I say? I wasn't his father. I had no right. Dr. Chen touched my arm gently. Mr. Patterson, I know this is devastating, but we still have Maya to think about. We need to find her a donor. Test him, I said. Test Thomas Brennan. Do you know where to find him? I laughed bitterly. Oh, I know exactly where to find him. He still sends Christmas cards. He and his wife never had kids, you see. Always said they were happy just being the fun uncle and aunt to David. The irony was suffocating. I made some calls, found Thomas's number. When he answered, his voice was cheerful. Bill, it's been ages. How are you? I need to talk to you, I said. It's about David. It's urgent. I heard the shift in his tone, the wariness. What about David? He has a daughter. She's sick. We're looking for bone marrow donors. I need you to get tested. Me? Why would I? Just do it, Thomas, please. There was a long silence. Then, quietly, she knows. Who knows what? Catherine told you. Before she died. Didn't she? My hand tightened around the phone. She tried, but she died before she could get the words out. I found out another way. Get tested, Thomas. Save your granddaughter. He did. He flew out from Phoenix 3 days later. I saw him in the hospital corridor. Older now, retirement age like me, but still recognizable. Our eyes met. He looked away first. They tested him. And this time, when Dr. Chen called us all back into that conference room, me, David, Rachel, and Thomas, her face was different. We have a match, she said. Thomas, you're a 5 out of 6 match with Maya. It's not perfect, but it's close enough. We can move forward with the transplant. Rachel started crying. David sat motionless. Thomas nodded slowly. And I just sat there, watching the family I thought I had reveal itself as something else entirely. The transplant was scheduled for 2 weeks later. Thomas would be the donor. I had no medical reason to be there, but I stayed in Los Angeles anyway. I couldn't leave. Not now. David finally agreed to meet me for coffee. We sat across from each other in a Starbucks, two men who'd spent 38 years as father and son, now strangers. "I don't know what to call you," he said. "Bill's fine, or Dad if you want. The name doesn't change what we've been to each other, doesn't it?" He stirred his coffee without drinking it. "Everything I thought I knew about myself is a lie. My whole identity. I look in the mirror now and wonder whose eyes I'm seeing." "You're seeing your eyes," I said. "You're still David. The man who graduated top of his class, who built a good life, who loves his daughter. That doesn't change. Rachel wants a divorce." The words came out flat, matter of fact. "What? Why?" "She says she can't handle all of this. The secrets, the lies. She says if my whole family is built on deception, how can she trust anything?" He finally looked at me. "She's not wrong." "She's absolutely wrong," I said firmly. "Your mother made a mistake. One mistake, 38 years ago. But she loved you. She loved us. That wasn't a lie." "How do you know?" "Because I was there. I was there for every fever, every scraped knee, every school play. I was there when you learned to drive, when you graduated college, when Maya was born. Your mother was there for all of it too. Whatever happened with Thomas, it was one moment, one choice. The rest was real." David's eyes filled with tears. "I keep thinking about how you must feel. I took everything from you. Your wife betrayed you. I'm not even your son. And now you're not related to Maya. You lost your whole family." I reached across the table and grabbed his hand. He tried to pull away, but I held firm. "You listen to me. I don't care what any DNA test says. I'm your father. I changed your diapers. I taught you to ride a bike. I walked you through your first heartbreak. I gave you away at your wedding. Biology doesn't make a father. Showing up makes a father. Every single day for 38 years. But Maya is my granddaughter," I said fiercely. "I don't care if Thomas's bone marrow saves her. I'm still her pop-pop. If you'll let me be." David broke down then. Right there in the middle of Starbucks, my son, because he was still my son, cried like I hadn't seen him cry since he was a little boy, and I held his hand and let him. The transplant happened on a Thursday. Thomas went in first. They extracted his bone marrow under anesthesia. Then Maya, who I still wasn't allowed to see, received the transplant. I sat in the waiting room with David. Rachel was with Maya. Thomas's wife, Patricia, sat on the other side of the room, looking uncomfortable. She probably didn't know what to say to the man her husband had betrayed. "I talked to Thomas," David said quietly. "He told me what happened. I wasn't sure I wanted to hear this, but I nodded. Mom was lonely. You were working 16-hour days, trying to save up for a house. Thomas was going through a divorce. They worked late one night. It happened once. Just once. Mom didn't know she was pregnant until 2 months later. By then, she and Thomas had agreed it was a mistake. They never told anyone. She should have told me. She was scared. She thought you'd leave her. And by the time she knew for sure I wasn't yours, she was too far in. She loved you. Thomas said she loved you so much. That's why she could never tell you. I absorbed this. 38 years later, my dead wife's secret finally explained. Do you hate her? David asked. I thought about it. Really thought about it. Did I hate Catherine? No, I said finally. I'm angry. I'm hurt, but I don't hate her. She gave me you. Whatever the circumstances, she gave me you. And you gave me Maya. How can I hate someone who gave me the best parts of my life? Dr. Chen came out 6 hours later. The transplant went well, now we wait. The next few weeks will tell us if Maya's body accepts the new bone marrow. Those weeks were agony. Maya developed a fever, then an infection. The doctors pumped her full of antibiotics. David looked like he'd aged 10 years. Rachel barely left Maya's room. I stayed at that motel, waiting, hoping, praying to a God I wasn't sure I believed in anymore. On the 18th day post-transplant, Dr. Chen called David. I was sitting next to him in the hospital cafeteria when his phone rang. I watched his face as he listened. Then he smiled. Actually smiled. "She's engrafting," he said when he hung up. "The bone marrow is taking. Her white blood cell count is rising. She's going to make it." I put my head in my hands and wept. 2 days later, David came to my motel room. "She wants to see you. Maya." My hands shook as I followed him back to the hospital. Rachel met us outside Maya's room. She looked exhausted but softer somehow. "5 minutes," she said. "She tires easily." I nodded and pushed open the door. Maya was sitting up in bed, pale and thin, her head covered with a colorful scarf. She'd lost her hair to chemo. But her eyes, those same bright eyes I remembered, lit up when she saw me. "Pop-Pop?" Her voice was weak, but it was her. My Maya. I crossed the room and sat carefully on the edge of her bed. "Hi, sweetheart. Daddy said you came to help me. That you tried to give me your bone marrow." "I did. But it turned out someone else was a better match. Mr. Thomas. He's nice. He visited yesterday." She picked at her blanket. "Where were you, Pop-Pop? You were gone for so long." How do you explain adult problems to a 12-year-old? How do you tell her that sometimes families break apart for stupid, complicated reasons? "I was in Phoenix, but I thought about you every single day. I missed you so much." "I missed you too. I asked Mommy and Daddy if I could see you, but they said no. They said you were busy." I glanced at the door where David and Rachel stood watching. David looked ashamed. "Well, I'm here now," I told Maya. "And if your mom and dad say it's okay, I'd like to stay. I'd like to be part of your life again. Can he, Daddy?" Maya looked past me. "Can Pop-Pop stay?" David stepped into the room. Rachel followed. They exchanged a look. One of those married couple silent conversations. "Yes," Rachel said quietly. "He can stay." Maya smiled, and suddenly the last 4 years didn't matter. The DNA tests didn't matter. The secrets and lies and pain didn't matter. All that mattered was this moment, this second chance. Over the next few months, Maya got stronger. Her hair started growing back, dark and curly like her mother's. She was able to go home. And slowly, carefully, I became part of their lives again. David and I had long talks. About Catherine. About Thomas. About what it means to be a father. Thomas was involved too, awkwardly at first. He wanted to know David, his biological son. David wasn't ready for that yet, maybe never would be. But he let Thomas see Maya occasionally, for Maya's sake. Rachel and David didn't divorce. They went to counseling instead. Worked through the shock of it all. I think nearly losing Maya put everything else in perspective. As for me, I sold my house in Phoenix and moved back to Los Angeles. Found a small apartment 10 minutes from David's house. I see Maya twice a week now. Sometimes more. Last Sunday, I took her to the park. We sat on a bench eating ice cream, and she leaned her head against my shoulder. "Pop-Pop?" "Yeah, sweetheart. I'm glad you're back." "Me too, Maya, me too." I looked across the park and saw David pushing his younger daughter. They'd had another baby, a little girl named Sophie, on the swings. My granddaughter. Both of them, my granddaughters. Biology be damned. Thomas walked up then. He'd started joining these Sunday outings. It was strange, the 4 of us together, the man who raised David, the man who fathered David, and David himself, caught between 2 versions of family. But we made it work. For Maya, for Sophie, for David. Because at the end of the day, family isn't about DNA. It's not about blood tests and genetic markers. It's about showing up. It's about being there when someone needs bone marrow, yes, but also being there for the ordinary moments. The ice cream sundaes, the scraped knees, the bedtime stories. It's about love. And love doesn't need a laboratory to prove it's real. I'm 63 years old. My wife lied to me for 35 years. My son isn't my biological son. My granddaughter shares none of my genes. And I've never been more certain of who my family is. Because they're the people I choose to show up for, and the people who choose to let me in. That's enough. That's more than enough. That's everything.